Street teaching on the weekend like usual. Pray before we begin, that's beautiful. Scoffers think they passed us, they doing too much. You haven't done no fasting, you're too turned up. Danyala got his rib at the house sewing up. That's why I keep the fringes on my shirt so tough. Niggas dance like women, man, that shit too sus. I just did a world premiere, that shit going up. It's a bad connection, girl, we keep breaking up. Looking at my wife the only time that I lust. Precept after precept got my readers going nuts. I ain't talking knives, but you keep getting cut. Don't have a lack of faith, that's a doubt. You ain't beat me to the first base, that's a out. You can't put the anklet on your ankle, got the gout. That's because you putting too much pork in your mouth. You should work
It's our time to rise. Hallelujah. I need a second witness. Let's go. I call heaven and earth to record this moment in time, that we, the chosen people of Yah, have aligned with the divine. The only thing on our mind is absolute repentance. Our identity has come to our remembrance, and the remedy for this painful sentence.
Shalawam family, Shalawam family. We finally live. Finally live. Let's give all praises, honor, glory, esteem to the Father Yahawah, the Ancient of Days, the Giver of life, Taker of life, and His only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushua in the Hebrew. In English, you may say Jesus Christ. Once again, Shalawam, peace and blessings to the four corners of the earth, those that are scattered to the four corners of the earth, all of the Ahchyam, all of the Ahcwathyam, which are the brothers and the sisters scattered across the four corners of the earth. I say shalom, shalom, peace and blessings, right? If you tuned in or if you tune in later, please do me a favor. Make sure to hit that like button for us so this message can continue to go out in the algorithm. It can edify our people and build our people up. That's what's important. So please hit that like button if you could do me that favor. And if you enjoy the edification, please subscribe. Right, hit the little subscribe button and then hit the little bell so you can get the notifications when we go live, right? And today is not going to be a long lesson because I don't think we have to pound this into the concrete. I think most people have come to the conclusion where they know that this is kind of evil now, you know, and if they haven't, I think personally that they just don't want to know that it's evil because there's so much information out here now that you can get it at the touch of a button, right? So pretty much today's lesson will be about the history of Halloween, right? And we're going to give praise to the Most High, and we're going to point the finger at those that celebrate Halloween, but not in a bad way or a negative way. We're just pointing the finger to educate them. So maybe next year or maybe even this year before tomorrow comes, because today is the 30th, that they will actually throw down those things and cast them out of their home and things of that nature. So that's what we'll be going over today, the history of Halloween. I'm going to play a short video that's going to go into great detail about these different things. But before I play that video, I just want to show one or two scriptures, and then I want to get the Oxford definition of what the history of Halloween and what it's about. Like I said, it's not going to be a long video because we don't have to pound this into the concrete. This is at the touch of a fingertip. So let me get into that. Once again, thank you, the water, for those that are tuning in, all of the brother and the Ahchyam and all of the Ahcwathyam, which are the sisters. Let's get this one real quick. This is just the Oxford definition in the Bible, right? So this is what Halloween meaning is: a blend of ancient and Christian traditions stemming from the Celtics festival. Now, that word that you see there, the S-A-M, I believe is pronounced Sahan or Sahan, something like that. I don't want to mispronounce it, but it's the way it's spelled is not the way it's pronounced, right? And involving the Christian observance of All Saints' Day. Sahan marked the end of summer and a time when the dead were believed to return to the earth. So this is what this Halloween is going into, and it's all about leading people to wear costumes and light bonfires to ward off evil or to ward off spirits. The holiday's name Halloween comes from All Hallows Eve, the night before All Saints Day. So most people that celebrate Halloween don't even know it's an eve before All Saints Day, but nobody celebrates All Saints Day. Maybe Catholics, but not the Christians, right? As we continue on, a feast to honor saints that was established by the Catholic Church. Once again, the Catholics might celebrate All Saints Day, but I don't believe that Christians do. Today, it is a circular holiday celebrated with traditions like trick-or-treat or trick-or-treating and costumes, which have a complex history rooted in these ancient and religion origins. And this is what people have to understand is this is not something new. This goes back to ancient times, and we have to be careful what it is that we celebrate, especially someone who believes in the Bible, right? And believes in the Most High and believes in Christ, because we're not supposed to celebrate these things. That's the things that we are told. Shalawam, Brother Philip. Shalawam, Brother Philip. All praises. He says, Shalawam family, call halal. But now we Yahawah Shama Mashiach Yahushai. Audio and video, one. Beautiful. Thank you. That lets me know the audio and video is beautiful and it's doing good. I hope you're having a beautiful Yahweh day at the plantation as usual, but we got to put this work in. We got to do the work. So the water, once again, for tuning in, wherever you at out there in the world, thank you. So as we showed that, right, I want to go to a couple scriptures real quick, if I may. Well, actually, I'm going to just go to one real quick, and then I'll go into the video, right? Like I said, I don't want to pound too much. So I'll show this, and I'll read this real quick. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verse 9, right? And it says, when thou art coming to the land which Yahweh thy Allah giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations, right? So wherever you are put or cast out to or scattered to the four corners of the earth, whatever land that you are in, the Most High tells us as his children, believers, that you should not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. And I just read to you, and I'm going to show you the video, that these things comes from other nations, right? These celebrations come from another nation. This is not something that believers, right, in Christ, Hamashiach Yahushai did. Verse 10 says, thou shalt not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, right? And people let their children dress up as a witch, vampire, Dracula, an enchanter, because, for instance, I seen some people dressed up yesterday, I believe, as the Harry Potter. They had the capes on and the things and the little wands. I believe those are wizards or witches, and they call on spirits, right? Verse 11 says, or a charmer or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard or a necromancer. And all of those things have to do with evil and wickedness. This is why the Most High told us, don't deal with them. Don't be a part of that, right? So with that being said, I'm going to show this video. And as we go into it, it's very educational. And that's why I want to show the video, because sometimes you could tell people, but when they're actually able to sit and watch something, they can stop, rewind it, and get the information for themselves, right? So I'm going to play this short video. Here we go. Bear with me. Come on. Here we go. For those who don't know, this is the Father's name in Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew. I know most people say God, but in the Paleo Hebrew, this is his name. And you read the Hebrew from right to left. So this is YHWH, right? YHWH, better known as the Tetragrammaton. If you don't know what that means, look it up.
Earth has made it very clear that he is directly opposed to all forms of sorcery and witchcraft. In his eternal Torah, in Devarim, Deuteronomy 18, we read, when you come into the land which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you, do not learn to do according to the abominations of those Gentiles, those nations. Let no one be found among you who makes his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or one who practices divination, or a user of magic. In the Hebrew, the term is me'onen, which literally means one who observes times. The King James Version actually has this correct, an observer of times, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, also known as a witch.
Also known as a witch. This is why I read that. We go over again. Then he gonna go into greater detail, right? So take the time to look at this because this is very important.
Or one who conjures spells, or a medium, or a spiritist, or one who calls up the dead. For whoever does these are an abomination. That word to'evah means disgusting and putrid to Yahuwah. Because of these abominations, Yahuwah your Elohim drives them out from before you. Be perfect before Yahuwah your Elohim. For these nations whom you are possessing do listen to those using magic and to diviners. But as for you, Yahuwah your Elohim has not appointed such for you.
Now, did you see that? It says Yahweh, your Elohim or Elohim in the modern Hebrew, has not appointed you such. He has not appointed this for you. Meaning anybody that believes in the Most High, believes in his only begotten Son, the children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, this is not for you. You cannot celebrate Halloween, Christmas, your birthday, your mama's birthday, your son's birthday, none of these things. Easter, none of this stuff, right?
Scriptures categorize the observance of pagan holidays with the act of practicing divination and witchcraft. Every year, billions of people all over the world will engage in the satanic holiday known as Halloween or some variation thereof, which exalts and honors death and the grave. This is due to the fact that all pagan civilization stems from the same root, the ancient Migdal Babel, or the ancient Tower of Babylon. And it is imperative to understand this so that we can understand the similarities that are found in the world's religions and their occultic symbols. Also, the very deities or demons which they worship and the holidays that they observe. But even if you do not know about the Tower of Babel, even if you do not know history, archaeology, or the scriptures, you can tell that Halloween is obviously pagan. It is obviously wicked, shrouded in darkness, magic, and witchcraft. The promotion of murder and sexual promiscuity runs rampant during this time. In fact, this is the time when the largest reports of satanic ritual abuse, or SRA, as it is deemed by the FBI, takes place. This marks the highest peak of ritualistic sacrifice and rape that takes place of any time of the year. If children cannot be obtained for the ritualistic murder, then dogs and cats usually make easy replacements. Hundreds of children will go missing during this time. Animal shelters will be broken into, and usually only their disembodied carcasses will be found on makeshift altars by local police personnel. In 2014, Americans spent $8 billion on Halloween, which is astronomical when you consider the growing debt of the United States of America, which is $20 trillion and counting. Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan and author of the Satanic Bible, stated, "I'm glad that Christian parents let their children worship the devil at least one night out of the year," referencing Halloween. I want you.
Now, this is important. Notice what this man says, right? He's a leader in the Satanic Church, a very evil man. And he says, I am glad that Christians, parents, let their children worship the devil at least one night out of the year. He's happy for that. And someone might say, well, why is he happy? It's only one time out of the year. All the devil needs is a little bit. He doesn't need a lot because he's going to stay with that child all throughout the rest of the year. And as that child grows into an adult, it's going to continue, that devil, that spirit is going to continue to work on that child, on that adolescent, on that young teenager, on that young adult until they become an adult. And then by that time, the devil has infiltrated their mind, and now they're full-blown, evil, wicked sinner living in the world. Let me show you this real quick, and we'll come right back to the video. Let me get one more. Let me go here real quick. We was in the book of Deuteronomy. I liked it that when he said that verse 13, for thou shalt be perfect with Yahawah thy Allah, right? For these nations which thou shalt possess, hearken unto observers of time, right, and unto diviners. But as for thee, Yahawah thy Allah have not suffered thee so to do. All praises be to the Most High. Let me get this real quick in the New Testament. James 4, the classic, right? James chapter 4, verse 4. It say, you adulterers or adulteresses, know ye not that friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High? Let me get this in a comparative text, because see, I don't want nobody to be able to run out of this today, right? If you click on this, this is straight information. You adulteresses, don't you realize that friendship, when you celebrate Halloween, that's friendship with the world, makes you an enemy of the Most High. So when you celebrate Halloween, Christmas, your birthday, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, these things are making you a friend or making you a part of the world. And then not only that, it's making you an enemy of the Most High. He says, I say it again, if you want to be a friend of the world, you make yourself an enemy of the Most High, right? That's very clear. Very, very clear. You can't get around that. Definitely can't get around that. Verse 5 says, let me blow it up a little bit more, Salakia. Verse 5, this is the book of James, once again, chapter 4, now I'm reading 5. It says, what do you think the scriptures mean when they say that the spirit of the Most High has placed within us is filled with envy, but he gives us even more grace to stand against such what? Evil. You can stand against Halloween. You don't have to celebrate it tomorrow. You really don't. So you can stand against it. It's telling you that you have the power to stand against such evil desires. As the scriptures say, the Most High opposes the proud, but favors the humble. So humble yourself under the mighty hand, right? As Peter said. Verse 7 says, so humble yourself before the Most High. Resist who? The devil. Resist tomorrow. When somebody offer you a piece of candy, say, no, I'll buy my own candy, right? No. When somebody asks you in their costume and they dressed up, you at the plantation, you at work, you out at the grocery store, Walmart, Target, ABC, Boys Market, Ralph's, wherever you shop at, right? Costco, Sam's Club, and somebody asks you, how does my outfit look? How does my costume look? You tell them, I'm resisting the devil. I'm resisting that evil, and he will flee from you. They'll leave as soon as you say that, right? So let me go back to the video. I just wanted to show that. Let's go back to the video and get deeper into this, right? Because he's going to give you some more information. Remember what it says. I'm glad that Christian parents, so we know it's Christian parents that are allowing this to worship the devil. Notice he says worship. If you didn't know, celebrating Halloween, going out trick-or-treating, dressing up with costumes, that is worshiping the devil.
You to allow this to soak in. The founder of the Church of Satan, the author of the Satanic Bible, who probably knows a thing or two more about Satanism than you and everyone else you know, is laughing at you and mocking at you, Christian parents, because he says that he is glad that Christian parents let their children worship the devil at least one night out of the year. But Anton LaVey knew that Christian parents also allowed their children to partake in Yule, which is the winter solstice or Christmas, and Ishtar, Ostara, or what is called Easter. Halloween is considered a high Sabbath for witches, Wiccans, Satanists, and other occult practitioners.
Hopefully you caught that. I wanted to stop that to focus on that. Notice what he said. Halloween is a high Sabbath for them. It's a high Sabbath. Like we have high holy days, right? The Feast of Tabernacle, things of that nature, Passover. This is a high holy day for them.
Modern witch covens pray for the horned deity to come amongst them at this time. This deity was known as Pan in the Greco-Roman pantheon, but by the ancient Arabs and Hebrews, he was known as Azazel, also known as Baal and Baal. But today, he is largely referred to as Baphomet, who is a hermaphrodite deity of philosophy that is worshipped by the Satanists. The goat head of the Baphomet is the most obvious of all satanic symbols found inside of the pentagram.
And you know this because you see children, you see kids, you see teenagers wearing this out and about at the stores, at the mall, at the grocery store, and their parents let them wear this stuff. So you know about the Baphomet, you heard about it. This is what I mean, that this stuff is the click of your fingertips. You can't just be blinded anymore.
Their variation of Halloween is called Samhain or Samhain, and is one of the yearly Sabbaths of the wheel of the year on the pagan calendar. It is deemed by most Wiccans to be the most important of the four greater Sabbaths, making it the holiest day of the year. Yes, you heard me correct. The holiest.
And I want to say, I know it says we have a warning on the video because this is an actual ritual. So for those that are not deep in the faith or really, be careful. Be careful because this is an actual ritual with these people that are doing these things. But as long as you believe in the Most High and His only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahawashi, Christ, the Anointed One, and you believe in Him and you give your life to Him, you'll be okay to ward off these evil spirits. But I'm doing this for edification purposes because our people need to be awakened and they need to know the truth.
This day of the year for witches and those who practice the occult. Samhain is seen by Wiccans as a time to celebrate the lives of those who have passed, often involving paying respect to their dead ancestors, family members, elders, friends, and even their pets. Necromancy, which is an attempt to communicate with the dead, is a key feature of this celebration. The spirits of the dead are often invited to attend the festivities. It is seen as a festival of darkness, which is balanced at the opposite point of the wheel of the spring festival of Beltane, which Wiccans celebrate as a festival of light and fertility. In ancient Babylon, the celebration of the dead marks the end of the agricultural year, much like it does in every pagan society. And this time marks the death of the celestial sun deity who the Babylonians worshiped as Baal or Baal, also known as Nimrod, who built the Tower of Babel, who is merely a man but was deified in the eyes of all of his subjects, and who tricked the people into thinking that he was truly the maker of the heavens and the earth. Baal is worshipped by thousands of different names and aliases, with thousands of varying characteristics all over the world to this very day. For instance, in the Egyptian culture, he is known as Anubis, also Osiris. In the Greek culture, he is represented as Hades and Zeus or Jupiter. In Maori, he is Wiro. In the Hindu religion, he is Yama. He is the horned deity, the Baphomet. He is any mighty one that any culture believes dies during this time of the year only to resurrect during the winter solstice known as Yule, today called Christmas. This is very key to understand. You see, Nimrod tricked his subjects into thinking that he was a mighty one, that he was an Elohim, and also that his wife, Semiramis, who is known as the Queen of Heaven, that she also was a mighty one to be worshipped.
Now, notice it says that she is called the Queen of Heaven, right? And we have churches out here today, right now, 2025, where it's a woman and they call her the Queen of Heaven, and people follow this church, and it's either it's a Korean or Chinese man that they say was Christ, and he was married to her, and all of these type of things. This is what I mean. And they call themselves Christians. You know, all you got to do is a quick Google search and say, what church says that she is the mother of the heavens, right? Quick Google search. Like, this stuff is crazy.
Semiramis is known by all kinds of names, thousands and thousands of aliases, just as Baal is. In the Greek culture, she is known as Demeter and Hecate. In the Norse culture, she is known as Freya and Hel. In the Chinese culture, she is known as Ming Po. And amongst the Celtic people, she was Morig Han. She goes by all types of names: Lilith, Kali, Ishtar, Ashtaroth, Easter, Ostara, and Diana of the Ephesians are all modeled after Semiramis, the Queen of the Heavens, the wife of Nimrod or Baal or Baal. And it is believed that during this time of the year, as the sun deity dies, that the mother deity goes into a deep sleep. And this allows the spirits of the dead to roam the earth. This is what the heathens believe. Celebrations for the dead have been done amongst all people on every continent of this planet. However, modern Halloween celebrations are easiest to link to Ireland. Nearly 3,000 years ago, the Celts of the British Isle and northern France celebrated Samhain or Samhain. Samhain marked the end of summer and the transition to what they refer to as the dark time of the year. The Celts were an agricultural society, much like Babylon. So this time also marked for them the end of their harvest and the beginning of a fragile time of the year when one only depended upon the crops that were harvested. It is believed at this time of the year, the veil between this world and the so-called underworld were at its thinnest. The Celts believed that the dead roam freely during this time of the year. To appease the spirits, the Celts, led by their priests, the Druids, would parade with gifts and festive treats, hoping to lure the spirits from their homes. They would leave sweet treats and food out as gifts for the dead. This tradition would morph over the years into today's custom of trick or treating. When you send your children out to trick or treat, they are literally bringing this ancient tradition back from the grave.
That's what you have to understand. You are celebrating something that comes from ancient people who worship the devil, and these are the customs and the things that they did and were done. So when you participate, think about what the Most High said in the book of Deuteronomy that we read, that you're not supposed to participate. You're not supposed to be a part of these things. But yet you're going and you're purchasing and buying and doing these things for your children, and not only for your children, but for yourself. And this is what you're a part of. This is what you're a part of. Let me continue it. Go ahead.
Helps believe that their sun deity dies during this time of the year every single year and is reincarnated as the promised son of the so-called gods during the winter solstice known as Yule, also Saturnalia, and Christmas. Samhain marks the death of the sun deity by the rising to power of the dark mother deity. Some believe that the dark mother deity actually goes to sleep during this time. There are variations to the story. Other variations of the story have it that this female deity, not only does she go to sleep, but this deep sleep allows humans to somehow communicate with the so-called spirit.
Look at all those people. Look at all those people celebrating and worshiping who? The devil. So don't tell me it's not devil worshipers. Look at all these people that's on the screen.
Spirits, which we know are nothing more than the fallen messengers, the Malachim who fell from the Shemayim, the heavens, to acknowledge the powers of the...
I just want to make a disclaimer. He is using modern Hebrew, right? So when he say the Shemayim, he said we say Malakim, he said the Malakim, right? He's just using modern Hebrew. What we speak is more of an ancient Hebrew. That's all.
Many deities or demons that they worshipped, blood sacrifices had to be made. First, they would start with livestock, such as oxen, horses, and various cattle. The idea here was to repay the Mother Earth who had yielded her increase with the ultimate payment, which is blood. The Druids would use the entrails of the sacrifices as a mean of divination, reading them as one would also read.
Notice, look at all of these Edomites. This is where it comes from. All of these Edomites, this is where all of this comes from. This is not the custom of the 12 tribes of Israel. These are the customs of another nation. And the Most High said in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, what we read when we started this lesson, is when I scatter you, when I take you, when I put you in this other land, do not learn what? The customs. Do not partake in these people customs. Just so you can understand.
Tarot cards or chicken bones in voodoo. They would slay goats and take the heads of the goats and put them on poles. Some of them would place these heads upon their own faces and parade around as if one who is possessed with the spirits. The Druids would also demand human sacrifice. As the days of the year grew darker and darker, they would burn their carcasses in huge fires called bonfires, or today bonfires. The Druids would dress as ghouls and various types of demons, and they would harass the local farmers and villagers, and they would demand from them a virgin sacrifice. If no virgin was produced for sacrifice, the Druids would paint a hexagram in blood on the house and leave a squash with a demonic face carved into it and a candle lit within it. This would mark the home, and the Druids would come the next night and burn it to the ground with the inhabitants still inside. Samhain night was seen as the bonfires.
So now you see where that pumpkin come from, where people leave that pumpkin. Here it is, where people leave that pumpkin in front of the house, in the window of the house, and they don't even know they're doing things where they don't even understand why. Like that was a mark from devil worshipers. That was a mark. And here you go to the grocery store buying a pumpkin and taking all of the inside out to put a candle in it so you can put it in the window so the kids can say, oh, look at the pretty pumpkin. No. You have to understand where this stuff comes from. And once you've been educated on it, if you continue to still do it, then hey, by all means, all praises. But that's why I wanted to do this. We'll do one for Christmas. We'll do one for every pagan holiday. But I wanted to bring this out. Let's finish it up.
With the inhabitants still inside. Samhain night was seen as the best night to predict the future and commune with the spirits. Masks would be worn to attempt to blend in with the evil spirits, to hide the individual's true identity. It was believed that the spirits were so mischievous and so hostile, and they caused so much chaos, and they haunted poor people in so much that they had to give these sacrifices and these treats. Pagans in Ireland still celebrate this ancient festival that they today still refer to as Samhain. The Romans also observed a similar festival called Pomona during this exact time of the year. To worship the goddess Pomona, worshippers would appease her using apples and nuts. It is a fact that bobbing for apples was a Roman form of divination used to communicate with this deity and with the so-called dead, which we know again are nothing more than demons. And
Now, I bet you didn't know that bobbing for apples was linked to this. And they make kids do this even in school or at a party or whatever. They, it's fun to them. When you doing this, you had no idea that this was a ritual that they did for devil worship. Had no idea. Well, now you do. So don't let your kids be bobbing for apples and things like that.
50 before the Common Era, the Romans conquered the region of the Celts and merged the celebrations of Pomona and Samhain. The Romans also celebrated Lemuria, which celebrated the dead and was a time that the spirits supposedly could roam freely. They believed the spirits would haunt them, so they began to leave treats out for the savage.
They believed that the spirits would haunt them, so they started leaving treats out, right? They started leaving treats out. Let me hold on. Let me show my screen. Let me get another scripture real quick. Let's go to the book of Ephesians real quick. Since we right here. Let's go to the book of Ephesians. Ephesians chapter 5, right? It said, well, yes, Ephesians chapter 5, and I'll do verse 10. It says, carefully determine what pleases the master or the most high, right? Because if you pleasing the master, which is Hamashiach Yahushua, you pleasing the most high. So it says, carefully determine what pleases him. This is in the New Testament, in the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 10. I believe it's in the New Living Translation, NLT, because I don't want nobody to try to wiggle out of this. There's no wiggle room. It says, carefully determine what pleases the Most High. Verse 11, take no part in the worthless deeds of evil and darkness. Instead, expose them. And that's what we're doing here today. That's what this channel, that's what this brotherhood, that's what it's all about. Walking with the Most High, walking with his only begotten Son. It says, take no part. So for all those individuals tomorrow that claim to be believers, that claim to be Christians, that claim to love Hamashiach Yahushua Christ, right? The anointed one, the Savior. It tells us to take no part in that worthless deed that is going to happen tomorrow. Why? Because it is full of evil and darkness. And it tells us, instead of taking part in that, it tells us to turn around and expose that. So that means you have a job tomorrow. I know you're going to go to your regular job, but you have another job to do tomorrow. What's your other job? To expose all of this evil and darkness tomorrow. So when you see people dressed up, educate them. Not in a disrespectful way, not in a mean way, but educate them. Let them know what this is about. Let them know where it comes from. You can even share this video with them, right? And if they still want to partake in it, you did your job. You did what you were supposed to do. as it says right here, to expose them. You expose, you showed them, you pulled what they say, you pulled the covers back, you showed them what it really was. Now, if they still want to go get in that bed, that's on them. Verse 12 says, it is shameful even to talk about the things that ungodly people do in secret. And I just showed you a lot of those things that were warning on the video that were done in secret. Why did I say secret? Because everybody's not there. Everybody's not there. That was a secure location where they picked to go and do this ritual for Satan. So that's done in secret. And it is a shameful thing to talk about it. This is why we don't talk about it all the time. But I felt the need because through the Spirit of the Most High and His only begotten Son, we were told to what? Expose this. So we have to bring it out to edify our people, to educate our people. And this is why we do the things that we do. Let me get another one real quick. First John chapter 5. Let me see. Let me see where I want to start. Let me see. I'll just do 16. If you see a Christian or brother, right? Notice what it says. If you see a fellow believer, a fellow brother or sister, ak or akwath in the Hebrew, you see a Christian brother or sister sinning in a way that does not lead to death. Now, this is bad because we read in Deuteronomy that those things, when you catch those type of people that are witches and necromancers and all those things, we're supposed to put them to death, right? We're supposed to put them to death. Hold on. How can I help you, sir? No, thank you. No, thank you. Somebody was all in my door looking all up in my thing. You know. Anyway, sorry about that. Let me just read this verse. 1 John 5 and 16. If you see a Christian brother or sister sinning in a way that does not lead to death, you should pray, and the Most High will give that person life. But there is a sin that leads to death, right? There is a sin that leads to death. And I'm not saying you should pray for those who commit. So we're told that we shouldn't pray for those people that commit this type of sin, right? All wicked actions are sin, but not every sin leads to death. Not every sin leads to death, but all evilness, all wickedness, right? So we have to be careful the things that's going on in this world and not be a part of it, not partake in it, but educate the people and let them know. Verse 18, we know that Elohayim, right? Children do not make a what? Practice of sinning. For Elohayim's Son holds them securely, and the evil one cannot touch them. This is why I said earlier when I was showing that video when it was saying the warning and the rituals and things like this. If you a new believer, if you just come into the faith, you know, it may be a little bit much for you. But for those who are sure in their faith, to stand tall on their faith and have a solid foundation in faith, you know, it says, and the evil one cannot touch them, right? Satan cannot touch you. Hasatan cannot touch you, right? So just have an understanding of that. Let me go to one of my classics that I always like to share real quick. This is one of my favorites. I have so many, but I always like this. It's the book of Baruch, chapter 4, and this is verse 1 in the 1611 King James Bible, right? Make sure you don't have one to get you one. And then if you don't have one, email us, let us know. We'll reach out. We'll help you get one. If not, you can always do it online. Put 1611 King James Bible, right? And the reason I say that is because the other King James Bible just has 66 books, but the original King James Bible has 80. And then there you have the book of Baruch, chapter 4, starting at verse 1, and it says, "This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die." It says, "Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou may be illuminated." Here it is. "Give not thy honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation." So here we have a strange nation that is celebrating Halloween tomorrow in America and all across wherever else they're going to celebrate. This is what we consider a strange nation. Why? Because they're celebrating things that are occultic, that go back to devil worship. So the Bible tells us, "Give not thy honor to another." Don't give your honor as a believer in the Most High and His only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushai, to who? Other people that's unprofitable. To those strange nations of people. Here it is, verse 4. "O Israel, happy are we, for the things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known to us." And this is why I showed you all of those scriptures that we showed, because those things are made known to us. They are made known to us, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing, right? I mean, we will want this made known to us, and He has did this for us. So I'm going to play a little bit more, and then I'm going to get ready to wrap it up. Here we go. We're going to go back to the video real quick. Let me show that, and then I'm going to get ready to wrap it up. Like I say, it wasn't going to be a long video. I feel like I don't need to beat a dead horse. If you want more information on it, just email us, and we'll bring out way more information. But I just didn't want to make it a 2-hour video. Most of the time, people are not going to watch it anyway. But I just want to make sure that the information is out there on this channel. Here we go.
In the 8th century, by renaming it All Saints' Day, a day to honor the dead, allow the pagans to continue their worship. Pope Gregory.
So basically what he's saying, the Celtics, the Roman came and conquered them, right? So the Romans came and conquered them. And in the Rome conquering them, what Rome used to do, just like it did with Yahushua, when they conquered Israel or Judea, Jerusalem, they still allowed them to keep some of their customs, right? That's why they were able to celebrate certain things even when Christ walked, right? The Passover and things like that. The same thing for the Celtics. When they conquered them, they still allowed them to celebrate their pagan holidays. But what they did is they mashed them together and brought it all together, just like they did being a Christian or being a believer, right? But here it is.
The third, however, decided to recreate Samhain in the 8th century by renaming it All Saints' Day, a day to honor the dead saints of the Roman Catholic Church. All Saints' Day was to begin on November 1st and was also dubbed All Hallows' Day. The eve of All Hallows' Day began to be called All Hallows' Evening, thus the modern term Halloween. Catholic children would go door to door asking for soul cakes, which were cakes filled with raisins, in exchange for prayers for the dead souls who were supposedly in the...
For those who know the Bible and read the Bible, who else was baking cakes with raisin in them? Huh? They was baking cakes to who? The Queen of Heaven.
The unscriptural location known as purgatory. With enough prayers, these souls who were bound in purgatory could ascend into the heights of the heavens, which is yet another pagan concept. Though the pagans supposedly converted on a major scale, they continued to dress up and they continued to communicate with the so-called dead and leave treats for the spirits. Eventually, the popes outlawed Samhain and all pagan religions, claiming a link to Satan. In actuality, however, this was the Catholic Church's way of cornering the market on all pagan observations and establishing the Catholic Church as the greatest pagan institution full of apostasy and hypocrisy, the greatest and largest pagan institution of all time. During the 1400s, the Catholic Church began to purge the region of all so-called practicing witches by burning them at the stake. In actuality, the church burned many Sabbath-keeping believers in Messiah Yahushua as well. In the 16th century, a major change took place when Martin Luther nailed his thesis to the doors of the Roman Church and the Protestant Reformation began. Originally, Protestants rejected the notion of the Pope, the bishops, and the saints, thereby protesting the strongest dogmas of the so-called Holy Catholic Church. Originally, Protestants did not observe All Hallows Eve. On November 5th,
did you hear that? Originally, the Protestants, which is everybody that call themselves a Christian today, because that's the separation between a Catholic, right, and a Christian, because Christians just are Protestants, originally didn't celebrate it. So how come are you celebrating it now? That's because the Catholic Church ordained it in the 8th century, and it's because you don't know history and you're not educated on history, you just do it now in 2025 because you've been taught to do it by your parents.
1605, however, a major shift took place when Guy Fawkes, who was a Jesuit militant, attempted to blow up the English House of Lords, which was dominated by Protestant followers. This began Guy Fawkes Night, which was an English celebration, originally which included the burning of large statues and images of either the Pope or Guy Fawkes. Due to the close time of All Hallows Eve, however, the two celebrations began to merge. America's beginning as an English colony brought Protestants, who were called Puritans, who rejected all forms of Halloween and Guy Fawkes Night. Eventually, however, Catholics would make it to the shores of the Americas, and with it would come Halloween. Soon the practice of telling ghost stories, bobbing for apples, and passing out treats would work its way into the mainstream. Virginia became the birthplace of Halloween as we know it today, though technically the local Native Americans also celebrated such heathenistic customs of celebrating the dead during the end of the harvest. The Native Americans would also paint their faces or wear masks to commune with the dead spirits and sacrifice animals in huge bonfires, not unlike the Celts of the British Isles. Eventually, huge droves of Irish immigrants would make it to the Americas, bringing with them the ancient traditions of Samhain. By the 1920s, America's first Halloween parade took place to supposedly counteract the violence and vandalism that had become traditional for this night. In 1970 and the 1980s, youths would set fire to places all around, especially we have cases in Detroit, and this became known as the Devil's Night. In the 1970s, many cases of children dying due to being poisoned or having razor blades stuffed in apples or Halloween candy began to make national news. Soon, Hollywood would seize the opportunity to bring Halloween into the home of most Americans. Horror movies, cartoons, and shows would elevate Halloween in a way never before imagined. By this
I mean, come on, man. Oh, man, this is just too much.
time, Protestants and Catholics, along with witches, Satanists, and practitioners of the occult, openly celebrated Halloween in unison in America. Halloween, therefore, has been kept alive today mostly by the 2.4 billion Catholics and Protestants. Many
2.4 billion. 2.4 billion Catholics and Protestants that say that they believe in Christ, believe in Hamashiach Yahushua, believe in his father, but yet you celebrate this evil, wicked holiday. Oh man, it's so much. It's more and more, Let me get this before I close out real quick. It's just a lot, man. It really is. It's just a lot. Anyway, Revelation 17:4, the woman who wore the purple scarlet clothing, the beautiful jewelry made of gold and the precious gems of pearls. In her hand, she held a golden goblet full of obscenities, right, or abominations. This is a New Living. Let me get it in the King James real quick. After the guy just said, right, the Halloween could be celebrated in America now, right? That's where it's celebrated at, in America now. So we're going to read this in verse 4. And the woman arrayed in purple and scarlet color, decked with gold, precious stones, and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of what? Abominations. The abominations is the things that the Most High hates, that he says is abominations, and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the great, the mother of harlots, and abominations of what? The earth. The abominations of what? The earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered great. Why? Because she's the mother of all harlots. And where's all this taking place at? In Mystery Babylon, right? In Mystery Babylon. Am I showing this? Khan, I am showing this. Let me go back and I'm going to show just a little bit more and then I'm going to get ready to close out. Khan. A little bit more information right here and then I'll get ready to wrap it up.
Protestant churches today try to offer a counterfeit to the popular Halloween by calling it trunk or treat or the fall harvest. Many even create haunted houses that they call Hell House to scare children into Christian conversion. Most atheists and secularists celebrate this pagan Catholic holiday today. Just about all American children, regardless of race or religion, will participate in this satanic holiday. In Mexico, we have Dia de los Muertos, which is an example of such a pagan mixture. We see in it the original celebration which was done by the Aztecs. But this was later incorporated with Spanish Catholic tradition. So today we have a new holiday, Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. It is very similar in so much that we will see decorations of skeletons and death, often in the shapes of candy and cakes, and they will be presented to the dead on this day to honor their fallen. Again, this is nothing new. This is not something that is isolated.
You heard what he said. This is not something new. This is not something that's isolated. This is something that just continues to go on, right? It's not nothing new. Nothing at all. It's sad. It really is. It's sad. And then it's the children. And this is why I say right after that, the child raises up and then, it's been taught by their parents. They raise up, have kids, and then they teach their kids. So it's just an ongoing thing.
To one particular type of people. We see this practice done in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, in North and South America, in Australia. All over the globe, we see that the people of the earth worship the demons of Babylon and they honor the dead, and they are at war against Yahweh Elohim, who has declared that we partake in none of these types of abominations.
None of them. None of them. That's what he has declared. Once again, as we close out, right? As we close out, I already showed you Revelation. Let's go back real quick to Deuteronomy, where it all started, right? Where it all started. And it says, or charmer or charmers, consulter of familiar spirits or wizards, necromancers, right? For all that do these things, not some, right? Not some people tomorrow, but all that do these things are in what? An abomination. For those who don't know what the word abomination is, let's get it. We're going to get the biblical definition before I close out. Outline biblical usage: a disgusting thing, abomination, abominable. In a ritual sense, I just showed you, of unclean food, idols, mixed marriages. For those who, want to marry outside their people. In an ethical sense, of wickedness, etc. It says something disgusting morally, especially idolatry, which is full of tomorrow. An idol, you're going to dress up like somebody, Luigi, Mario, anything, a vampire, you're idolizing these things. Characters, cartoon characters, He-Man, Darkwing Duck. I'm saying old cartoon. You can tell how old I am. But anyway, those are abominations, right? For all that do these things are an abomination to Yahweh. And because of these abominations, these disgusting things, Yahweh thy Allah doeth drive them out before thee. And then he tells us in 13 that thou shalt be perfect with Yahweh thy Allah. So we have to be perfect. Peter said the same thing, right? Be ye perfect. Somebody might say, well, where does it say that at? Let's get Peter. It says right here in 2 and 9, 1 Peter, but you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of what? Darkness into his marvelous light. Into his marvelous light. So you used to celebrate Halloween, but you don't celebrate it no more. Why? Because you have been pulled out of the darkness into his marvelous light. All praises be to the Most High Yahweh. Hopefully, like I say, that this was educational for you. This was edifying for you, to build you up. It was a lot of information in there. Didn't want to make it too long. You can share this, go back, show people, or it's here if you want it. All praises be to the Father, Yahweh, the Most High Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushai. Thank you, Tawada, for those that tuned in and will tune in. Please, like I said, don't forget to hit that like button and tune in for our Sabbath day class coming this Saturday. Usually we get started between 11:30 and 12 this Saturday. So if this is edifying for you, you like the information, please tune in for our Sabbath day class this Saturday. Like I said, between 11:30 and 12 is when we get started, and we would love to have you, right? We give praises, honor, and glory to the Ancient of Days. And with that, I'm going to say Shalawam and Kwam Yasharala.